Oh ja, das spiele ich gern.
Well, Stanley,
Wo ist meine
is this
Hand?
any better?
Ja, es
Yes,
ist
the
besser.
one thing you've always desired. A game I had absolutely nothing to do with.
You
But
can
is it
jump.
enough? Tell me that, Stanley. Will it ever be enough?
Das reicht
Well,
mir,
I'll
ja.
say this. I'm done making things for you. From now on, I will only create to fulfill a greater artistic purpose. Watch this, Stanley. I'm going to build a house.
Wo? Wo ist er?
This will go here. No,
What?
here. And then...
Wo baut er denn? Ach, da baut er.
Let's see, what does it need? Yes, of course. And just to finish it all off...
Ich kann nicht rein.
Yes,
Ja!
it's complete. I made this, Stanley. Look at it. Gaze upon my work of art and feel ashamed at your own inadequacy. But you've only seen it from the outside. You've only gotten half the experience. Please, step inside and make yourself comfortable.
Du bist ja blöd. Da bin ich dir gefangen. Das kannst du vergessen. Außerdem, du hast nichts mehr für mich. Ich mache nichts für dich. Ich habe zwar noch nie was für dich gemacht. Aber jetzt mache ich erst recht nichts mehr für dich. Du kannst mich. Ich will auch Sachen kaputt hauen. Lass mich auch. Ich will Minecraft spielen. Ich kann nicht springen. Mach die Tür wieder zu. Mach zu. Ich gehe da nicht rein. Nein. Ich weigere mich. Nein. Nein, ich will die Blume. Nur schöne Blume. Na gut, dann gehe ich halt. Ja.
Isn't it grand? Isn't it perfect? It could only be better if... Wait, that's it. We must rebuild it out of diamond.
Ja, das ist viel besser.
Diamond everything. Yes, yes, yes. Come along, Stanley. We have to go mining.
Ja, ich bin dabei. Alles aus Diamanten. Ich muss die Diamante finden. Ich kann zwar nichts abbauen, aber...
Get a bit dark. Have you brought a light?
Ich habe kein Licht, aber es reicht auch.
Oh, no. This is far more open-ended than I had in mind. I'm looking for something more narrow and linear. Something that makes you feel utterly irrelevant. This won't do at all. 1 out of 5. Even the diamond couldn't save this one. Okay, new game.
Hey! Ich wollte doch Diamanten finden. Und jetzt? Das ist einfach neu. Was ist hier los? Der ganze Game-Wert wird durcheinander gebracht. Oh, Portal!
Yes! I don't even know what this game is, but I love it. You, trapped in a glass box with no way out, listening to me talk. Oh, it's inspired. I couldn't have done it any
Ja, ich möchte den ganzen Tag reden hören.
What is this game even supposed to be? I can't figure it out.
Oh.
Okay, now I'm curious. Let's go find out what the hell this is.
Verdammt! Wenn ich springen könnte. Oh, das Glas ist offen. Naja, egal. Portal, lang ist her. Auf geht's.
Oh, it's a puzzle. Critical thinking, Stanley. Your forte.
Boop. Hey, boop. Ach, das ist doch viel besser.
Genius.
Ah, danke. Hi.
Actually, you know what? I think that's plenty. I really don't care much to see you stumble through any more of these.
Ja. Ich glaube, das hat ihn irritiert. Da gehen wir hier lang. Gibt es eigentlich einen hier lang? Okay. Ich habe den großen Meister irritiert. Bin selbst genug irritiert und laufe ins Nichts. So muss das sein. Wir gehen hier rein. Ich glaube, ich habe das Spiel kaputt gemacht. So viele Etagen sollte das Gebäude gar nicht haben. Es wird immer dunkler, wo ich hinlaufe. So viel dazu. Hier gibt's überall nichts und davon gibt's eine ganze Menge. Was noch eins? Hier. Licht! So viel dazu. Ja. Na? Ja? Oh, Licht und dann ist es wieder weg. 427. Nothing to do hier, oder was? Ne, das glaube ich auch nicht. Ich drücke einfach auf den Tasten rum, das wird schon funktionieren. Das macht er extra.
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice, and if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait.
Ja. Lass uns warten. Kann ja sonst nichts machen, ne? Oh, wir fangen wieder von Anfang an. Dann bin ich jetzt einmal durch irgendwas und irgendwie durch. Und mache das nächste Mal weiter, denke ich. Soweit, bis dahin, ciao. Hier ist Sanna, ich bin zurück und stehe in mein... Oh, Cora spielt der sie, schön. Stehe in meinem Büro und fange wieder von vorne an. Diesmal denke ich, höre ich bei 1, 2 Sätzen wenigstens auf den großen Meister, denn ich habe ihn letztes Mal ja ganz schön verärgert. Also, laufen wir los.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he
Oh, ich
entered
fange
the
diesmal
door on
direkt
his
hier an.
left.
Ne.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room,
Ich
and
weiß.
Stanley knew it perfectly well.
Ich bin
Perhaps
immer
he
noch
wanted
gegen
to stop
dich.
by
Du
the
hast mich
employee
letztes Mal ganz schön
lounge
sitzen lassen.
just to admire it. Standing now in this incredible room, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Nö. Aber diesmal fahre ich mit dem Fahrstuhl durch.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Der Meinung bin ich auch, aber ist ja egal. Diesmal fahre ich mal da hoch.
Look,
Mal gucken,
Stanley,
was da
I
gibt.
think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
Für wen? Für wen?
This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life.
Wen denn?
She's been waiting.
Wer wartet? Ich will sehen. Was? Oh,
That's
Telefon.
her, Stanley.
Ich habe schon abgenommen, bevor es mir jetzt...
Oh, Stanley, is that you?
Ja.
Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven.
Okay, mach das.
Right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your
Oh Mann.
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife?
Ne?
They want to commit their life to you. I'm
Na,
trying to
danke.
make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
Kannst du mich mal...
Sorry, but you're in my story now.
You're mine domain now, bitch. Ey, warum? Das ist jetzt unfair. Jetzt muss ich auf ihn hören. Hi, Schatz.
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
Na, danke. Good morning, employee. Press A on your keyboard. Klar. Wie oft denn? Passiert hier über was? Oh.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his
Ja,
existence.
die 8, die Unendlichkeit. Nö, ich bleib bei 8. Gut.
Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now
Das ist wie
he's
auf der
pushing
Arbeit.
a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
Na klar.
But in his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
Oh, wo sind die im
And
Fernseher?
so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly.
Mit den Boys?
So he went further. He imagined that he came to 2 open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold.
Wie er mir meine Geschichte reindrückt. Prepare dinner.
As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parabel.
Echt?
It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again,
And
and
again,
again,
and again,
over and
and
over,
again.
wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time.
Oh, I love you.
But there is no
Huh?
answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one.
Gleich bin ich in meinem Büro. To go to sleep.
And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
Okay. Nö, jetzt drücke ich nicht. Du hast mich doch darum gebeten. Und ich höre doch so gern auf dich. Ist das die echte Uhrzeit? Ach, kann ja gar nicht, ne? Wir haben es Mitternacht und nicht 5:30 morgens. Nein, ich will dir nicht drücken. Deine Story ist vorbei, du Arsch. Ah, ist ja okay. Drücke ich eben die 5.
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
Ich sehe mich doch gar nicht. Hallo, warum geht das denn hier nicht auf den
I suppose I
Namenblock so an?
can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must.
Ja, genau.
Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time.
Mhm.
And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I
Please die. Bin ich jetzt echt verreckt? Bah! Ja, das muss raus. So. Das war mal wieder nicht so toll. Ich höre heute mal auf den großen Meister. Ja, nicht komplett, aber ein bisschen. Boah.
When Stanley
brauchst
came
gar
to
nicht
the set of
sagen, ich
2 open
weiß.
doors, he entered the door on his left.
Ja, ja, komm, den Gefallen tue ich dir.
Yet there was not a single person here
Tipps doch
either.
nicht, gefeuert zu werden.
Feeling a wave of disbelief,
Der letzte Tipp ist der beste.
Stanley
Don't get
decided to
fired.
go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Okay, dann frage ich mal meinen Boss. Broom Closet.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Das sagst du. Aber was sag ich? Da ist bestimmt was. Ich kann was finden.
There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here.
Ist ja gut, dass er darauf reagiert, aber hier gibt's bestimmt was und ich will es. Ein Schlauch.
It
Kabel,
was
die die
baffling
Wand
that
sind.
Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet.
Ich
He
sitze
wasn't
doch gar
even
nicht, ich
doing
stehe.
anything. At least if there was something to interact with, he'd be justified in some way. As it is, he's literally just standing there doing sweet FA.
Ja. Ja, hier, es gibt da was zu tun. Ich kann die Tür auf und zu machen. Ist noch was zu sagen?
Are you really still in the broom closet? Standing
Ja.
around doing nothing? Why?
Weil
Please
ich es
offer me
kann.
some explanation here. I'm genuinely confused.
Mir macht es Spaß, dass dich das stört. Und dich das verwirrt.
You do realize there's no choice or anything in here, right? If I'd said Stanley walked past the broom closet, at least you would have had a reason for exploring it to find out. It didn't even occur to me because literally this closet is of absolutely no significance to the story whatsoever. I never would have thought to mention it.
Es macht mir nur Spaß, dich zu ärgern, so wie du mich geärgert hast.
Maybe to you this is somehow its own branching path. Maybe when you go talk about this with your friend, you'll say, "Oh, did you get the broom closet ending? The broom closet ending was my favorite."
War's
I
auch.
hope
Ist
your
es auch.
friends find this concerning.
Sagst du noch was? Oder kann ich gehen? Aber nicht, dass du mich jetzt gleich
Stanley
wieder
was fat and
umbringst.
ugly and really, really stupid. He probably only got the job because of a family connection. That's how stupid he is. That or with drug money. Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
Natürlich. So ist das Leben. Ich bin fett und hässlich, sagt er. Das ist
Well,
Grund
I've
mehr
come
jetzt
to a
mal.
very definite conclusion about what's going on right now. You're dead. You
Nein.
got to this broom closet, explored it a bit, and were just about to leave because there's nothing here when a physical malady of some sort shut down your central nervous system and you collapsed on the keyboard. Well, in
Yeah.
a situation like this, the responsible thing is to alert someone nearby so as to ensure that your body is taken care of before it begins to decompose.
Mach mal.
Hello? Anyone who happens to be nearby? The person at this computer is dead. He or she has fallen prey to any number of your countless human physiological vulnerabilities. It's indicative of the long-term sustainability of your species. Please remove their corpse from the area and instruct another human to take their place at the computer, making sure they understand basic first-person video game mechanics and filling them in on the history of narrative tropes in video gaming, so that the irony and insightful commentary of this game is not lost on them. All right, when you've done that, just step out into the hallway.
Ah, ich glaube, jetzt kommt nichts mehr. Aber ich bin ja jetzt tot, jetzt spielt es jemand anders weiter. Und der verlässt das.
Ah, second player. It's good to have you on board. I guarantee you can't do any worse than the person who came before you.
Natürlich.
You too? Unbelievable. I'm at the mercy of an entire species of invalids. Perhaps there's a monkey nearby you can hand the controls to. A fish? Fungus? Look, you can hammer out the details. I'm not particularly picky. I'll just be waiting for when you're ready to pick up the story again.
Oh. Puh, jetzt reagiert er nicht mehr, aber ich hatte meinen Spaß.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Ah, aber ich habe Angst vor meinem Boss. Nein, ich traue mich nicht. Der schlägt mich, wenn er da ist.
But Stanley just couldn't do it.
Ja, genau.
He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He
Ja,
might be fired
da mag
for
der
that.
Boss doch nicht.
And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk?
Genau.
All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all.
Genau.
None of it made any logical sense.
Und wie kam mir
And
denn
as
ein Auto
Stanley
rein?
pondered this, he began to make other strange observations.
Was
For
denn?
example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real.
Ja.
And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming! he
Ja.
yelled. This is all a dream.
I'm dreaming.
What a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently
What the
float
fuck?
above the ground.
What the fuck?
Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun.
Yeah!
Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid?
Hey.
And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and
Ja,
thinking?
das ist wohl die größte Frage.
Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd, and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself? Believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life.
Oh mein Gott.
Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream.
Ja,
Did the
das
voice
ist
not see him
drauf.
float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This
Ja.
voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just...
Was?
He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream.
Ja.
So
Das
he
beweist.
closed his eyes gently, and he
Nein.
invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my
Ich dachte, ich hab
job.
keine Frau.
All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
Das klingt echt strange, mein Lieber. Oh, ich stehe immer noch hier.
Stanley began screaming.
Ah!
Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I?
Ja, ich bin Stanley!
And everything went black.
Hey! Hey! Das ist unfair!
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
Oh!
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk.
Na super, ich bin schon wieder
Though
tot.
she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, And in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body.
Sehr nett.
And then she turned and ran.
Na geil. Und ich bin tot. Ist ja nicht das erste Mal. Ich dachte, Stanley Parabel ist gut, aber es bringt mich den ganzen Tag nur um. Hä? Oh. Oh. Mal was Neues.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room to check on his co-workers. He never functioned well by himself and constantly needed support and guidance from others, so the thought of total solitude was terrifying to him.
Diesmal ist der Text auch, glaube ich, anders hier so. Das ist auch gut. Nicht über Papier. Ah, da drin nicht. Da kann ich rein. Oh.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Ja. Psst. Alles ruhig.
Yet there was not a single person here either.
Ah, jetzt sind wir
Feeling a
wieder richtig.
wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his
Nein.
boss's office.
Nein! Nein!
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He
Bevor du
considered
weiter
the
redest, gehe ich
possibility of
einfach.
facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that. And in
Ich
such a
mag das nicht
competitive
mehr.
economy,
Lauf ich hier die ganze
why
Zeit
had he
gleich?
taken that
Hey!
risk? All because he believed
Das ist aber...
everyone had vanished. His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment.
kann ich den ganzen
for
Tag
no
im
reason
Kreis
at all.
laufen.
None of it
Supergeil,
made any
Matico.
logical sense.
So, ich habe das nochmal zurückgesetzt, denn ihr werdet es nicht glauben, ich bin
All
gestorben.
of his
Oh,
co-workers
wow.
were gone.
Weil
What
ich
did
verrückt
it
bin.
mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Dann gehe ich hoch zu meinem
When
Boss.
Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Habe ich ja schon.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Okay. What the fuck? Ja, schönes Büro. Oh yeah.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life.
Oh.
Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an
Seit wann habe ich diesen Kreis?
secret PIN number. 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
Ich habe gar nicht jetzt sogar zu... Oh, ja, das war falsch.
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the
Ist
clock
ja
was
okay.
incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Hä? What the fuck? Okay. Der Boss hat echt verrückte Sachen bei sich. Aber es ist okay. I can't say anything. We have to go this way. Then everything would be better. Loading, 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 loading. I think it's loading.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar.
Ja.
It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job.
Ja,
Why
genau.
did he feel this now, when for
Was ist
years
das denn für
it had
Gebäude?
never occurred to him?
Ah,
This
da.
question would not go unanswered for long.
Echt? Echt strange.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Aber Escape. Aber Mind Control. Aber Escape. Aber Rückweg. Light is on. Collect immediately. Schade. Okay, dann gehe ich. Escape.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
Natürlich, wie immer. Irgendwie gehe ich nicht
The
weiter.
door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
Nein.
At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Ja. Mal gucken. Natürlich. Ich bin schon wieder tot. Oder? Nein!
As the
Hui!
machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is.
Lass mich
Perhaps
doch
his
gehen.
death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. So he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and
Lass mich
shallow
gehen.
life. Farewell, Stanley.
Nein! Was ist das eigentlich für eine schwachsinnige Maschine? Ich will nicht schon wieder sterben! Nein!
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws.
Kriegst du
In
gerade
a
einen zweiten
single
Speicher?
visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
Oh. Ah, ich danke dir, zweite Stimme.
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What
Natürlich.
exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish?
Ja, genau.
When every
Aarox
path you
freut
can
mich.
walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Na super. Kein Wunder, warum ich die ganze Zeit sterbe. Office Layout. Na klar. Korridor, dass man das sogar hinschreiben muss. The two doors. 1, 2 oder 3. The Office. Button Sounds. Die habe ich alle noch gar nicht gehört. Office Computers. Das ist der beste Office Computer. Der hatte nämlich Solitär am Lauf. 4 Kapitel. Das ist schon geil. Oh, Bilder gibt's. Und Nature Painting. So, das ist toll, dass hier die ganze Erklärung von dem Spiel drin ist. Credits. Das sind die Credits. Ich will nicht neu starten. Was war denn hier? The Office. Maintenance Raum. Oh, sogar ein Kopierer. Narrator Emails? From... Oh, die kann doch gar nicht lesen, ey. Da kriegst du ja Krebs. The Lounge. Jetzt kann ich mir alles angucken. The Apartment Timer. Mhm. Ja. The Cargo Lift. Gibt noch einiges, was ich sehen kann. The Cargo Lift again. And again. And again. And again. Gehen wir mal da lang. Sogar Hebel gibt's. Sollte öfter auf den Typen hören, glaube ich. Aber was? Ich hab... Naja, bis auf, dass ich nicht ins Mind Control gegangen bin. Yeah, 4 Major Teaser Trailer of the Course of the Games. Aber ich starte nicht. Leider nicht. Oder? Ah, kommt jetzt doch was. Noch Trailer? Die könnt ihr euch auch so angucken. Tja, ich möchte nicht neu starten, aber... Escape Menü. Hier gibt's echt alles. Exit. Fahrstühle.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free.
Ja.
Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen.
Ja.
But listen to me.
Nein!
You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice.
Nein!
You do choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't
Auf Wiedersehen, Welt! Wenn ich Escape gedrückt hätte, hätte ich auch nochmal von vorne anfangen dürfen. Ah, wie oft bin ich in diesem Spiel gestorben? Hat jemand mitgezählt? Ganz schön langer schwarzer Bildschirm. Ah, ich lebe noch. Oder so ähnlich. Gut, dann nehme ich den Black Screen als Ende. Das war's soweit. Ich habe ein paar Enden rausgefunden. Meine Enden enden immer gleich. Ich sterbe andauernd, aber ist ja egal. Ich werde ja nett darum gebeten von dem Sprecher, der keinen Namen besitzt. Das war's von Stanley. Ich bin raus. Macht's gut, Leute.